Happy Monday morning. Welcome to Break the Board Sports. It's your boy RJ Cash here. Man, what an exciting weekend in college football that we had. Some huge upsets, some that we were on. We had Florida State we gave out to everybody, plus 14.5. That wins outright. We had the Texas-Ohio State game. We had the Texas and the under in that. That crushed. So lots of great things. Last night, Miami got home late. So just a huge, great weekend of college football. Let's dive right in, though, to what the big salami is. That's right. We're talking about the NFL. NFL takes off this week in the NFL. It's all going to get started Thursday night. And, boy, did that one just get escalated a lot. Micah Parsons get traded off to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks. As usual, the Dallas Cowboys do what they do. They look absolutely incompetent. Jerry Jones, there's no possible way he wants a Super Bowl because he'll never sniff one. This line now is ballooned up to the Eagles, minus 7.5 at both FanDuel and DraftKings, updating it right now. Again, breaktheboardsports.com. Every Monday and Thursday, 10:30 Eastern time, we'll have a show. Goes for an hour, and then throughout the week, we'll have shorts. We'll be breaking down all the NFL games, getting into ATS trends, over-under trends. Again, click that like. Let's get into it again. Philadelphia Eagles laying 7.5. Your over-under set at 47.5. Eagles on the money line, minus $4 right now. You know, not something I would ever do, but you can expect guys with a ton of money and money in their pocket to be laying some crazy stuff like 40,000 to win 10,000 on the Eagles. I don't see any way Dallas gets across the finish line, but I would say, you know, if anything in college football taught us anything this week, underdogs bark. Underdogs bark. They do. And so if you go following the favorites, not saying you don't ever bet favorites, but if you're going to constantly bet favorites, you're going to find yourself behind the 8 ball, and everybody knows that, right? But I think we need to hear those things. I'm not going to necessarily give you information you've never heard of, but I think we have to remind ourselves as bettors and, more importantly, as handicappers. Again, go to breaktheboardsports.com. We want to help you become a better handicapper. You'll see some of the college football notes we had. We've put some of those up for anybody to go see, but you have to click on a subscription to get them all. But as we hop in, I think you got to remember you don't have to make a bet. I know it's the first game. Everybody's really excited. That doesn't mean you have to bet the game. Now, the over-under 47.5, I will say Dallas was one of the worst defenses in the league without Micah Parsons on the field. I look for this game to go over the total. However, I will say this is kind of a public service announcement. You have to be very careful because we saw this a little bit with college football. Early in the season, the defenses have the advantage, right? It takes a little bit for these offenses to get going. Perfect example was that Texas-Ohio State game. Took a while for Arch Manning to get going. He never truly got going, but in the beginning, you could see, especially these road teams, really struggling, the offense really sluggish. So finding something you compare with the Eagles' money line, again, I think teasers and parlays, those are what people like. You have to be extremely careful. Full disclosure, I actually had a lot of money line parlays in college football this weekend and was able to get home with those or with some teasers. For example, Utah was able to get them across the finish line with South Carolina. Could have bet them both outright and been okay, but it was just easy. Hey, let me lay minus 110 for that 2-team parlay, try to get an easy unit across the line for all of our players. But finding something with the Eagles, again, that money line is something I would look at. When you get into some player props, Dak Prescott to go over his passing yards, I would say Dallas is going to throw the ball a ton. Dak over 250 yards, minus 110. That's something I would look at. Dak Prescott passing touchdowns, 2+ passing touchdowns, plus $1.20 at FanDuel. Looking at Saquon Barkley, they do a thing with alternate rushing yards, 60+ yards, 70+ yards. So some different things you can do in there, but I would look any way I could I don't want to lay 7.5, the opening game of the whole NFL season or a team's opening game, but I would look as much as I can to parlay the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, I'm also would love comments, emails, breaktheboardsports@gmail.com. Again, go to the website. Also, a big week. We got Circa Survivor. We got the Average Joe's contest. And we got Circa Millions, our team here at Break the Board Sports, all a part of that. So would love your feedback. The interesting thing about the Circa Survivor is this Eagles game? Again, if you're out there in Vegas and you lose the game, you can buy back in. I'm not going to be out there, but I'm really down between the Eagles. I don't want to follow the Broncos as much as I think the Broncos win that game. The whole world's on the Broncos, and I got jaded last year with the Bengals at home against the Patriots and them losing that game. So would love your feedback. Again, I don't like road teams in Survivor contests. And even if you can't make it out there to Vegas, everybody has these Survivor contests, especially on these online books. But I would look towards the Cardinals. Again, I don't like road teams, but I think the New Orleans Saints are by far the worst team in football. Thursday, we'll actually be able to put out, because Circa does a good job of putting out who's bet what teams and the percentage and all that. So that'll give us a good insight as we look into week one. Also, Friday night in Brazil, the Kansas City Chiefs follow the LA Chargers. Chiefs -3, you're over under 45.5. I think this game's going to go tilt more to the under. I want to see what the Chiefs look like. Now, look, 15-2 last year. I don't think they're going to do that, but I do think they end up 11-12 win team here down the stretch. The Kansas City Chiefs are just too good, right? The Chargers, we know what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. He's going to want to keep the ball on the ground, churn it out, run that clock down. So the Chargers +3, nothing I want to get involved in now. Chargers +3.5, that'd be a whole different story. If you're telling me, hey, RJ, do you like the Chargers in a teaser +10? Yes. I'm not real keen on college football teasers. Again, like I said, full disclosure, we gave out some this week. They hit minus the Baylor one. The guy dropping the touchdown at the end for Baylor really, really hurt. Should have been a clear, easy cover. Actually, should have never got there, the punt return and then the phantom third down call. But played them more than usual in college football. But I will say this, teasers with underdogs in the NFL has a great hit rate, something to really look at. Not all of them, but looking at some of them. I mean, heck, if you told me Dallas +14.5, how could I be mad at that, right? 2 touchdowns is a lot. Again, I think the Eagles win the game. I'm not taking 7.5 with Dallas. I'm not laying 7.5 with Dallas. But if I'm looking and you're telling me, hey, what about 14.5 in a teaser? I'd listen to that, right? A lot of other places, they do some exotic stuff where you can have a 3-team 10-point teaser for -$1.30. There's a couple books out in Vegas like William Hill that do that as well. Look, if you're now telling me Dallas +17.5 with the Chargers +13 with maybe the Giants +16, 16.5, I'm all ears for that, right? I would say, yeah, absolutely. That's a good play. So again, I think the biggest thing we do to sabotage ourselves as handicappers and as bettors is the cell phones, right? We have the cell phones and we just start firing away, right? Because it's so accessible. I would really encourage everybody, put everything in on Thursday, and unless there's a live bet that really presents itself, okay? I'm not a live better person. I like to play the games, let it roll, but try to get everything in. Try to start disciplining yourself to get everything in on a Thursday or Friday. That way, you're not influenced, right? Because there's so much information, so much stuff scattered, it really becomes hard and really interferes with your handicap. And I think taking a lot of information in is a good thing if you can process it. But if you're just like firing on each and everything somebody says, that's not a good look either. Steelers will play the Jets week one. Steelers laying 2.5. Now, this has flopped around a little bit. -3, -2.5. Right now, it's set at -2.5 at DraftKings. Over-under set at 38.5. Over-under pretty much split on the ticket count, 51% to the under, 49% to the over. And then looking at the game itself, 69% of bets and 81% of the tickets fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Me personally, again, another rule I have, don't like laying points on the road. Again, you saw that in college football. Boise State laid points on the road to South Florida. Didn't work out for them. Alabama laid 2 touchdowns on the road to Florida State. We had the Noles. Didn't work out for them. Notre Dame laying short number on the road to Miami. Didn't work out for them. So laying points on the road, that'll have you sleeping on a park bench for sure. Steelers, though, if I had to look at them, you can find some minus 150s out there. There's also some minus 155s, minus 160s. I really think Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers come out, play a really good game, and get across the finish line. And as we were talking about before, just looking for things to pair the Eagles with from a money line standpoint, you can do an Eagles-Steelers money line parlay plus 111 at FanDuel. So look, I mean, that's good value, right? If somebody told you, hey, the Eagles just to win pretty much at even money, that's something you could get behind. Again, I think that's something you look at and say, okay, that's good value, right? Again, we're always looking for good value and how can we get the best out of the number. New York Giants at the Washington Redskins. Now, this number's jumped around a ton. Right now, FanDuel has the Redskins laying 6.5, over under 45.5. And I've kind of backed off. I really thought the Giants were going to hit their under. And again, this is one of those things you look at and you say, okay, how is information swaying, right? But when I look at that Giants defense, I've watched them a little bit. I really think that the Giants are going to be a whole lot tougher. Remember, Russell Wilson didn't play bad. He can manage it. Brian Dable. The Giants got some pieces to work with. I don't think you're going to see any sevens pop up in this game. I just don't see that happening. But if you could get the Giants tease-wise or something like that, I think you'd have a great shot. Again, bets right now, Redskins taking 61%, 39% of the Giants. But the handle pretty much split. Washington taking 52%, Giants taking 48%. So there's definitely some even amounts now. Like if you go out to Vegas or whatever, you're seeing the Giants. A lot of sharps on the Giants. A lot of sharps on them. A lot of sharps liking them to hang in there in this game. If you look at the Giants, they've covered. Sorry, let me refresh this. Giants have had the first half team total over 7 of their last 9 on the road. So their team total going over has been there for them a lot. Now, Washington, same thing. They've hit the first half total over for the game. So first half total, 13 of the last 21. If you've been following that, you'd be up 6 units, 25% there on those. So definitely some things to look at. Miami at the Colts. Colts laying 1.5. Your over-under in this game, 46.5. Again, Thursday, we're going to dive into the NFL a little bit more. But right now, I just want to get through some lines and some quick points. When I look at this one, I can tell you straight up I'm betting Miami, right? I've heard all these things about the Colts, but I've seen Daniel Jones. You put Tua and you put Jalen Waddle and you put Tyreek Hill, you put them on turf. I'll take my chances with that all day, every day. So that will be the way I lean. Carolina at Jacksonville. I think these teams, again, very, very close, very hard to really get a gauge on either one of these teams. I've heard a lot of things. Hey, they're going to be good. Hey, a lot of things are going to be bad. So I think we just kind of see how it plays out. Jacksonville's laying 3 right now. And again, you can see this kind of split in the market. Jacksonville taking 55% of the tickets, Carolina taking 45%, 46% of the handle going to the way of the Panthers, 54% going to Jacksonville. Cincinnati on the road. Again, Cincinnati, we know these week 1 woes that plagued them a lot. Cincinnati laying 5.5 now. There was some 6.5. Now you've seen some buyback, but it's still mainly Bengals money. And this is definitely pros, Joes. Pros, they're taking the Brownies. Joes, they're taking the Bengals. Bengals, 76% of the ticket count compared to 24% for Cleveland. 83% of the handle to Cincinnati compared to 17% for Cleveland. Raiders at Patriots. This one stayed at 2.5 for a very long time. Now it's moved. Now it's moved to 3 on here. You're over under 42.5 for the New England Patriots. Again, I like the Raiders here in a teaser spot. Let me just update this real quick for you. I like the Raiders here in a teaser spot for sure, getting 10. I don't see New England. I don't see New England really going on some big run against the Raiders. I know a lot of people are high on New England. I'm not one of them. I lean more towards the under 8.5 for the season win total for sure. Again, I can respect Mike Vrabel. I like what Mike Vrabel brings to the table and whatnot, but I just don't see them being this team. I've heard a couple analysts say they could hang in there with Buffalo, and I just don't see that. I don't think that's a realistic goal for them. I'm not bought into Drake May. I know he did some good things last year, but I really, really look for him to slide off this year as they face the Raiders in week 1. I would take the Raiders. I also like Genty with the Raiders. Bowers. I think Pete Carroll really brings a whole new dynamic to them and is going to make them such a better team. So again, I would side with the Raiders in the teaser there. Cardinals, Saints. I mean, the Cardinals should blow the Saints out here. I think the Saints are the worst team in football. The Saints have gone under 500 against the spread in 3 straight years. That's tied with the Patriots for the worst streak in the NFL. Since 2018, the Saints are 25-36 against the spread at home. And in the last 7 seasons, they've been the second worst against the spread in the NFL, along with the Falcons. So, again, the Saints, it's hard to make a case here. I know a lot of people in your survivor pools, you're going to look to the Cardinals. I can't fault you. I mean, the Cardinals should win the game. Now, covering the spread, maybe a whole different thing. Does Spencer Rattler get lucky? I mean, the Saints do have a solid D. They got some pieces, right? Olave, Kamara. It's not like they couldn't put some points up on the board. I don't know how good Arizona is. I think that whole NFC West is just a toss-up. If you could tell me any of the 4 teams win the division. The only team actually I couldn't buy into would be Seattle. I'm just not a Sam Darnold guy. I think the Sam Darnold, the last 2 games is who he is. I think the first 15 games of last year, Kevin O'Connell, just credit to his play calling and the way he does things, just makes him a much better team. Division matchup, we got a couple of these week 1. Tampa Bay Bucks against the Atlanta Falcons. Bucks laying 2.5. They're taking 66% of the bets, 34% of the Falcons. Your over-under in this game set at 46.5. As a favorite, Baker Mayfield, 19-13-1. That's only 38% against the spread. Falcons, they open up the season in Atlanta for the 6th consecutive season. They're just 1-4 straight up and 2-3 against the spread in those openers. This will be their 6-1. I like Tampa on the money line here. I think they're the much better team. Again, nothing's going to shock me, but I do have a ticket I'm holding on Tampa Bay money line minus $1.40. Again, I caution I wouldn't lay points on the road, but with these short favorites, I do look to the money line more than anything else. Again, a big survivor pick is going to be the Denver Broncos. They're hosting the Tennessee Titans. This one climbed up as high as 8.5. It's 8 at FanDuel right now, 7.5 at DraftKings. So a lot of movement in this one. 72% of the tickets to the Broncos, only 28% of the tickets to the Titans, 87% of the handle to Denver, 13% to Tennessee. Again, I would just caution the Broncos. They look on the clear surface, the team to put here if you're in your pool, right? Because when else are you really going to use Denver? Now, I don't think Denver's going to be as good as what people say they're going to be. Okay, people talking about Denver win the division, you're crazy. I think Sean Payton's a really good head coach. I like their defense. Bo Nix surprised me. I thought he'd be okay. He was better than I thought he'd be. But listen, Bo Nix is not winning no MVP, and the Denver Broncos are not winning the division. We did this during the Patriot dynasty. Oh, this is the year. Somebody's going to get him. Somebody's going to get him. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the NFC West or AFC West. If you're holding a ton of money and you can let your money sit out there for 6 months, put your 10 grand on the Kansas City Chiefs to win the division. That's going to happen. Chargers aren't winning the division. Neither's Denver. I do think Denver is a playoff wild card team, but Cam Ward in Tennessee, they've looked very, very impressive here in the preseason. Again, I know it's preseason, but I would just caution, this is sneaky, right? We saw this last year. Everybody thought the Bengals were going to crush the Patriots. I was one of them. Patriots went in there and they owned the game from start to finish in that one. 49ers, Seahawks, this one sold in at 2.5, depending on where you shop. 63% of bets, 84% of the tickets on the 49ers, only 16% of the handle going to the home team, the Seahawks. Again, I would also say home dogs, kind of flipping what I said with the Saints. These home dogs, you got to be careful betting against them. Here's a team, the Packers, again, they got Micah Parsons. They're laying 2.5, but overwhelmingly 75% of tickets and 72% of the handle going to the Detroit Lions. If you wanted to take the Packers on the money line at home, about $1.40 is the price you're going to pay. This is a favored where the underdog keeps getting bet in the line. It's moved up, it's moved a point the wrong way, right? So you got reverse line movement there. This spread was -1.5. Micah goes to the Packers. It goes to 2.5, and everybody and their mother is piled on the lines. I will say the Lions are a great teaser opportunity. Now, when we talk about these teasers, 6-point $1.20, two teams 7-point $1.40. I like getting the field or the extra point, the 7 points. However, I will say this: a number, if you're looking at the Lions, a number like +9.5 is kind of a dead number, right? 8.5 is a good number. So if you're looking, hey, I want to spend less juice but still get through key numbers, 8 has become a very key number. Lions +8.5 in a two-team 6-point teaser. That's something you could really get behind, right? So maybe if you're somebody that just thinks Washington's going to blow the Giants' doors off at home, a two-team 6-pointer -$1.20, the Redskins and the Lions taking them up to +8.5. That's a good value, -120, if those are two teams that you like. So a couple different ways to look at. Same way in the Seattle San Francisco game we just touched on briefly. Seattle, again, 7-point teaser with a home dog, taking them +9.5. Doesn't really hit. 6-point teaser +8.5. That kind of hits a little more, especially in a game where I think the 49ers and Seahawks, their offenses are both going to struggle. You're going to see a lot of run the ball. I do think these two defenses are going to be fantastic this season. I think these two defenses for sure top 10, but not some I want to go run out and lay a price for like that. Houston at the Rams. Rams laying 2.5. Houston getting more of the ticket count and getting more of the handle here. Houston 56% on the ticket count, 58% on the handle. I will say this all comes down to Matt Stafford. I got a little bit better number. I got the Rams -$1.30 ticket that I'm holding. -$1.40, $1.45 is what you're going to pay now. I still think it's Rams or nothing. I'm skeptical on Houston's. I like DeMeco Ryans. I like C.J. Stroud, but I'm still just a little bit skeptical. I do like the Rams. Rams were my preseason pick to win the NFC West. I like what they have. I know Cooper Kupp's gone to Seattle, but I like what the Rams have. I believe in Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. They should be able to just be able to put points up. Sean McVay's play calling. I really believe in the Rams, but this all comes down to what Matthew Stafford are we getting? Again, I'm holding the ticket week 1, Rams money line. I'm going to give that out to all of our people, but again, Matthew Stafford, a little bit of a question mark, so it's not something I would go crazy bet on. This one, Ravens and Bills. Bills laying 1.5. Ravens taking 62% of bets, 38% of bets to the Bills at DraftKings, but it's split 50-50 there. Again, this one too close to call, but I will say, again, when you're looking for dance partners for NFL teasers, I think the best one of the week. Again, people are going to say, oh, how can you lay $1.40? Too much juice. Juice is an issue until it wins, right? Again, there's value and then there's probability with value, right? So you got to be I'm not going to go lay $300 on money line, but if you're telling me I get to move 7 points in a line, and so $1.40, do you really care what you pay if it's $1.50 under? If you have the Eagles at pick with the Ravens at plus 8.5, I don't think so. Right now, that might be one of my best bets I'm looking at. Haven't placed it yet, but like if somebody told you, hey, here's a ticket, it's a free ticket. Eagles beat the Cowboys and the Ravens to stay within 8.5 of the Buffalo Bills in a game that is a coin flip game. Absolutely. I mean, Baltimore beat up Buffalo in Baltimore last year. And then in the playoffs, Baltimore, you can really make the argument Baltimore should have won the game. I had Buffalo money line in that game, but I tell you what, if Mark Andrews can catch a ball, the Ravens win that game, and the Ravens still didn't play well, I didn't feel like. So, again, a lot of things there to look at for week one. And then Minnesota at Chicago. This one we're going to dive into more Thursday. All these games we're going to dive into. Plus, we'll have a couple little quick hitter shorts diving into some of these games, really getting personal with them, really diving into trends, information to help you become a better handicapper at breaktheboardsports.com. Again, go over there, click like here for it. We truly, truly appreciate that. Looking into college football, again, home dogs barked 77% on Notre Dame last night. Miami, Florida outright, Florida State outright. Huge things there. When you look at most bet teams, right? And again, this is where public they go to die. Texas. I had Texas in the teaser. I did a 2-team 7-pointer. I had under 55 on the total, which was never in doubt. And at the time, Texas was a 2-point dog, took them up to 9, right? And you say, well, you just talked about that with the line. I more wanted the under because I wanted to cover if it did get to like a 34-21 type deal. But Texas, the most bet team, they go down. Alabama, laying 14, second most bet team in Vegas, they go down. We have Florida State. Notre Dame, laying 3, third most bet team, they go down. Clemson, this was a regret of mine. About an hour before kickoff, this went to 5.5, jumped from 4 to 4.5 to 5.5 in some spots. And I was just busy and I didn't fire on it. And it was a huge mistake. LSU, it was so clear they were the play in this game. But Clemson goes down, and then Indiana, people thinking they were going to roll ODU, and that did not happen. They went down. So, again, you just got to be careful. You got to be careful betting these teams that everybody in the masses is going on. Now, you also got to look at prime time, and you got to look at games that are highlighted on ABC, Fox, all that stuff. Because while the favorites went 48-42, home underdogs were only 3-8, but you have these big primetime games with these home dogs. South Florida, home dog, outright. Florida State, home dog, outright. Miami, home dog, outright. LSU, Clemson, primetime spot. LSU, outright. Ohio State, Texas. Though Ohio State was the favorite, everybody was on Texas. All I heard was Texas, Texas, Texas. I didn't hear many people at all give Ohio State. I wish I'd given Ohio State out. I played them myself, should have gave it out to everybody. I just wasn't sure. It was more of, okay, the sheep are going that way. I'll just put a little bet on Ohio State. Should have gave it out, should have trusted my instincts. Again, I'm not saying you can always bet that way. But if you just blindly bet against the public, you're going to end up a winner, right? Over the long haul. Now, you may have a month or two bad stretch, but look, we have that as bettors and handicappers. We have that all the time. But like, I would just look, especially in these big primetime games, there's so much of an opportunity to go against the public because those are the games public wants to bet. Public's not really interested in Air Force Houston. You know what I mean? They're not really focused on San Diego State and Stony Brook. All right. Heck, they're not even really focused on Virginia at NC State, right? But they are focused, like if you look at this coming week, just to refresh, because we want to give you all the updated stuff we can at breaktheboardsports.com. Again, go to the website. $389 right now is the special. From $500, you can go, instead of $500, $389. You get all the notes, all the picks across every sport for the whole year. But just to look here, you look at this week, Oklahoma, big game on ABC. That's the 7:30 p.m. game. They're hosting Michigan. That started out Oklahoma -2.5. It's now Oklahoma -5.5. So when you look at that, which way is the public end up going in that game? I would also say, as far as home teams crushed it this year or this week. Since week 0 and week 1, home teams 80-12 straight up at home this college football season. Again, that's just straight up. So it's hard to win on the road. I've said this for years, both college basketball, college football, it's hard to win on the road. So you look at this week, Illinois in college football laying 2.5 at Duke. Again, Illinois ranked 12th in the country. A lot of people think they can make the college football playoff. But again, that's just a tough spot when you're laying points on the road, especially a short number. Baylor, they go on the road to SMU. We had Baylor Thursday. That was a stinker. We lost that game as Auburn beat us there. Again, Iowa at Iowa State. This is a big rivalry, but Iowa State's at home laying 3. Cyclones, they had the trip overseas in Ireland. Then they come back. They hand it to South Dakota 55-7. Now they're laying 2.5 at some spots. There's a couple 2.5s here you can pop up and get, but 3's the mainstay. Again, looking at a money line bet, Iowa struggled with Albany, who I didn't even know had a football team. So, again, looking for those home teams. If you're going to take a dog or if you're going to take a team on the road, you can't be laying points. That's going to make things very, very hard to do. A couple other games. Just to note, Utah State on the road at Texas A&M, though Texas A&M's laying 30. Not some you can really look at. In that game, I would just say, hey, it's kind of a sandwich spot to a degree. You had the interstate rivalry with Texas San Antonio. Now you have Texas A&M next week. They go on the road to Notre Dame. So, again, just spots there you look at. Clemson, they come back. They host lonely Troy. Clemson be laying 31.5. Ole Miss. So this is another spot we talk about laying points on the road. Got an interconference game, Ole Miss and Kentucky. Last year, I was actually at the game at Ole Miss where Kentucky went there and beat them. Now Ole Miss goes to Kentucky. Ole Miss laying 9.5. Again, not something you want to be doing. Can't lay points on the road. Kansas, they'll travel to Missouri. Interstate rivalry. This had Missouri -6.5. They've dropped to Missouri -5.5. On later in the day, we got South Florida at Florida, which is going to be a good one. Florida up to 18. Florida laying 18 to Interstate South Florida. And Florida, they turn right back around next week, and they got to play LSU. So, again, South Florida, a little bit of an advantage here, I feel like, as far as just from a preparation standpoint, something to look at for them there as well. We talked about Michigan and Oklahoma in the late game. Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech is another late game. UCLA didn't look very good at all against Utah. We had Utah. It'll be interesting now going into Saturday night. They go to UNLV. UNLV, a little bit of a bounce back as they had Sam Houston State. UCLA laying the short number of 2 here to UNLV. We'll see how they bounce back in that one. Switching over to Major League Baseball for Sunday, or for Monday rather. Marlins at the Nationals. Nationals laying $1.20 with Alvarez. Bacher, more of a bullpen day for the Marlins. Comeback +105. Mets, they'll send Sean Manaea to the hill at Charlie Morton. Tigers laying $1.15. Your over-under is 8.5 there. -$1.25 to the juice. I would definitely look to the over in that team. You got 2 pitchers that have really, really struggled. Manaea 1-4 with a 7.12 ERA over his last 5 starts. And for the Detroit Tigers, Charlie Morton 2-3 with a 4.61 ERA for him. Tigers, last time Morton was out was against Baltimore. He did go 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. So actually played really well, or pitched really well in that outing for him. Blue Jays at the Reds. Blue Jays in this one let me update here. Blue Jays laying Reds laying $1.25 with Hunter Green. Chris Bassett plus 110 on the comeback here. Blue Jays have taken 6 out of 10 from the Cincinnati Reds. Bassett 1-4 with a 3.67 ERA over his last 5 starts. He last faced Cincinnati back in 2023, going 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs in that one for him. And for the Reds, again, Hunter Green on the bump, 3-2 with a 3.29 ERA. He faced Toronto back in 2023, a game the Blue Jays won 10-3. Only 3 innings pitched for Hunter Green, and that one giving up 10 hits, 9 runs, 8 of them earned. So really got beat up and torched in that game by the Blue Jays. Indians will send Southpaw Paul Messick to the hill, or Parker Messick to the hill, 1-0. Had 1 start this year against Tampa back on August 26th. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs earned. Boston, they'll counter with Brian Bello, 4-1 with a 2.27 over his last 5. He faced Cleveland earlier this year back in April, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 strikeouts for him. Again, right now, the updated line has the Boston Red Sox as the favorite in this one, minus $1.50, plus 125 on the comeback for the Guardians. Angels, Astros hook up. Kikuchi will get the start for the Angels. The Southpaw Garcia will be on the hill for the Astros. Right now, Astros laying $1.42, plus 130 on the comeback for the Angels. Garcia has never faced the has never faced the Los Angeles Angels, except for a bullpen appearance back in 2022. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 runs in that one. Kikuchi, 3-2 with a 5.54 ERA. He has not faced Houston since 2022 in his start. Next game on the board, Chicago White Sox at the Minnesota Twins. Bailey Ober will get the call for the Twins. They're laying $1.85. Adrian Savale plus 167 on the comeback. They played a 3-game set about a week ago. Twins took the first one at 9-7, and then the White Sox blistered them the next 2, 7-3 and 8-0. Aaron Savale, 3-2 with a 3.16 ERA. Probably his last 5 starts, that's been the best he has pitched all year long. He has not faced the Twins, though, since last year. Went 4 innings, 3 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned. Bailey Ober really has struggled over his last 5, 1-4 with a 4.67 ERA for the Twins. Again, if you're looking for a bet in this one, I would definitely look to the over in this game. White Sox Twins, 9 is your over-under. It's juice minus 115 to the over. There are a couple 8.5s out there. You can go to ESPN Bet, but you're going to pay a high juice for over 8.5, minus $1.30. The Sacramento A's, they'll go to the St. Louis Cardinals. Sonny Gray faces his old team, the A's, but he has not pitched well over his last 5, 3-2 there. He hasn't faced the A's since 2024, where he went 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. His last start against Pittsburgh was much better, though. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned, and 7 strikeouts. That's been the best Sonny Gray's pitched since back in May. Luis Morales has been red hot in his 4 starts, 3-1 with a .87 ERA. The rookie looking very good there. I think you would have to look for some value here. If you can get the A's plus $1.30 right now is where it's at. That might even grow up. A lot of public is going to hop on the St. Louis Cardinals. So if you can get the A's later, right now that game goes off at 2 o'clock here on Labor Day. Atlanta Braves and the Chicago Cubs hook up. Cubs right now, minus $1.20, even for Spencer Strider. You're over under 7.5 at this one. Braves have taken 7 of the last 10 against the Cubbies. Spencer Strider, though, 1-4 with an 8.75 ERA over his last 5. The Cubs, 3-2 with Colin Ray with a 4.15 ERA. Now, the last time Ray faced the Braves back on August 6th of 2024, 10-0 when he was with the Brewers. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, none of them earned. Cubs, I like the Cubs here, minus $1.20 with Colin Ray. The Braves, Strider has just not pitched well, really, really hard to follow up and be laying a bet down with him for sure. Giants and Rockies hook up. Giants have taken 8 of the last 10. Tang will get the call for the Giants. Chase Dolander will get the call for the Colorado Rockies. Dolander 2-3 with a 6.26. Neither pitcher has faced the other team. Again, I can't lay juice on the road with the Giants, even though they've taken 8 of the last 10. And the Rockies always seem to surprise you. Last week, I had the Astros versus the Rockies in a couple matchups. Was able to get home 4-0 in the one game, but then the Rockies won another game. So, again, as you have late in the season, you start getting more of these minor league kids called up for these teams that are out of it. They're trying to make a name for themselves. You just got to be very, very careful about what teams that you lay a bet down on because it's not so obvious. You want to try to focus on these teams that have something to play for. They're in the race, trying to find value there. You got to be real careful. Not saying you can't bet the Giants-Rockies game, but you got to have a good angle there. Brewers, they've taken 5 of the last 6 against the Phillies. Tejon Walker will get the call for the Phillies, 2-3 with a 3.14 ERA over his last 5. The rookie Mizorowski started out red hot, but now 3-2 with a 6.50 in his last 5 starts, so he's cooled off a bit. Right now, the Milwaukee Brewers are laying $1.55 at home, plus 135 is the comeback for the Philadelphia Phillies. Probably going to be making a play on the Phillies here at the plus money. I don't think the Brewers laying that price. Plus the Phillies, they got to get going. They've been slumping a little bit as of late. Kyle Bradish will get his second call back since coming off the DL for the Orioles as they visit San Diego Padres. Padres have taken 7 of the last 10 versus the Baltimore Orioles. Bradish 0-1 with a 3 ERA. Again, he made his first start last week against the Boston Red Sox, going 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. Boston won that game 5-0. Padres will send Dylan Cease to the bump, 4-1 with a 4.94. He hasn't faced Baltimore since August of 2023. Padres, again, they're in the thick of the things. We're with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but I can't go laying $1.50 with them. Seattle on the road will send Luis Castillo to the hill. Seattle has taken 6 of the last 7 against Tampa. Castillo 2-3 with a 6.66 ERA. Do not like that ERA. Shane Baz has been even horrific. 1-4 with a 7.92 ERA in his matchup. Again, neither pitcher pitching well as of late. Minus 108 both ways. Your over-under set to 8.5. Juice minus 112 to the over. Last game on the slate, Texas Rangers will be at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Southpaw Paul Corbin will get the call, or Patrick Corbin, rather, will get the call for the Rangers. 2-3 with a 7.17. Again, he started out good. Now he's turned back to the Patrick Corbin we've all came to know and love. 2-3 with that 7.17 ERA. Ryan Nelson 2-3 with a 4.60. Earlier this Arizona, back on August 11th, Nelson faced Texas. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs allowed, and yet somehow Arizona laying $1.46. Comeback plus 124 on the Rangers. Your over-under set at 9. Nothing I want to get into in this game, but if I had to make a play, I would definitely look to the over or maybe an alt over. Right now, Phillies plus 130 is something I will be playing. A's a lean, but I want to see, can we get a little bit more movement going for us on that one? Same Nationals. I like the Nats minus the 110. I think that's a good spot for them to end this losing streak that they got going for them. Again, breaktheboardsports.com. You can go click on the packages. We also have the notes section today. Be starting to load notes for NFL as well as the look ahead for college football. Again, remember, when you're betting favorites is a dangerous proposition. You got to be really, really careful about that. You got to make sure you're not laying heavy numbers. Now, college football, again, we talked about looking ahead to that. You had the favorites, or you had the home teams rather, 80-12 straight up. Again, follow us on breaktheboardsports.com. Click the like button. Appreciate the support. Again, be looking out as we will have notes sections and shorts coming out all throughout the week here, and appreciate the support.